wash over me, cool me down, cool me down. Water beneath.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the beautiful Bombshells. This is Vintage, also known as Cinnamon. You guys know me on the page. And we also have today with us the beautiful, funny, electric Bombshell.
Hello, ladies.
And just hello, ladies.
Well,
Wow.
What am I supposed to say?
I guess
Hi, everybody.
she's deep in thought.
I am.
So we'll move on. And also, as we all know her, the OBB, you know me kind of girl. OBB Maury. Hey, Mar.
Hey.
So,
That's all I got.
Hey, really? Are you guys like totally out of nothing to say today? We've been gone for so long and we're just like all like, hey.
We don't know how to talk anymore. We've been gone so long we don't. No, I think that I know that both of us are struggling with physical ailments today, but I think that we're just like, okay, this is a serious show. Like, we're just gonna, yeah.
we're just gonna go through it.
Yeah.
All right.
Here,
We're just gonna...
let me make you feel better, Vintage. Hello, beautiful women and gentlemen that are listening live or later on. We just want you to know, gosh darn it, people like you.
Well, you know what's so funny? I'm sick, but I'm always got something to say.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Well,
Isn't that true?
Well, I am always sick, and I always have something to say. Just today, I'm experiencing a very bad day. So, mostly I'm trying not to revisit that cake I ate this morning. Yeah. So, but we're good. We're here to soldier on. We're here to get this done. We're here to talk with you ladies because we haven't talked to you in so long. We haven't been here, and we apologize for our long break, but life has been kind of shitty.
Hectic, shitty,
Yes.
up and down. Messy. Yeah.
Very messy.
Yeah. I've had a lot of hot mess days.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god! I think, you know, at some point in time, you're like, I'm a hot mess. My life's a hot mess, and now I think I'm going to legally change my name to Hot Mess.
You know, that doesn't sound bad.
No.
Maury Hot Mess?
No, I think hot
One
mess.
of
hot
Joe's
mess
favorite
cool.
clothing stores is H&M, and I'm like, I swear it means hot and messy. I'm like, is that why you like this store, Joe? He goes, yeah, it reminds me of you, Mom.
Huh. Because you're a hot mess.
Because you're a hot mess.
You know, funny, like, side note, but thing, we were talking about life struggles, and one of the things that, you know, if you're on the page or know me personally, you know my son struggled, and so currently we're working on a medication change and counseling and stuff like that, and he asked me how I have endured, like, how do you keep going? And he told me that, and it was a compliment and it made me sad, okay? It made me, because of everything he's gone through, but, so anyway, he said, how have you endured? I feel like I should be disappointed in myself because I wanted to give up when I did. And he's like, I'm not, you know, and his counselor and everything like that are walking through and stuff like that. But it's like, I told him, I said, you know, there's different types of people and different types of mental illnesses and stuff like that. And I said, honey, I just have never had the I can't, I won't. I said, I just, for some reason, there's just something in me that says, okay, keep going. Okay, keep going. I said, and I hit walls all the time. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and I shared my personal story of when I did attempt suicide, you know, and with him, you know, in a controlled setting with this counselor. And he's like, I would never see that from you. I'm like, oh, I'm so close right now. No, I'm just kidding.
You have no idea.
Not something to kid about, but, I mean, life is effing hard.
Yes, it is. And unfortunately, you have to have good people and a good support system to help you through it. And I feel bad for people who don't have
that support.
That support system, their tribe, their family.
Amen.
So I'm thankful that I have you guys. I'm thankful for my family, every day.
Oh, gosh, yeah, absolutely. And I think that was one of the things that I told him and his counselors and everybody have told him, too, is one of the biggest things is it's so easy to get wrapped up in what you don't have and in the negative. So every morning, and my kids hate me, every single morning they're with me, they hate me. They have to get up and they have to write 3 to 4 things that they're either grateful for or that they appreciate about yesterday or about today,
Yeah. Well, and I think that's a fabulous thing.
It is, but when you're like, you're not getting breakfast till you do this, and that's like, you can't withhold food from me.
I am hangry.
I'm like, you are going to find things that you are grateful for, damn it, and then you can eat. I don't know that this is sending the positive message it's supposed to, but I'm fucking trying.
You Neanderthal, you. You cannot eat until you write.
Right. But you know what the sad thing is like, that's pretty much life. Like, it's effing hard, but you try to put a really sweet, positive spin on it.
If you write, honey, I'll make you waffles.
If you write, I'll make your sister do your chores. I did that one day, and Kai's like, she does them anyway. And I'm like, wait, what?
Wait a minute, what?
Like, you know what? I ain't even mad at you. Kai is so strategic, like, such a strategic planner. I ain't even mad at her.
Right?
She is. Like, I've never seen somebody that is so intelligent but so lazy. And so she can literally, like, she knows what to say to her brother and sister. Like, her brother has 2 chores that he totally hates, but they're super easy. Mm-hmm. So Kai's like, I'll do those 2 chores if you'll do everything of mine.
Yeah.
And like, and this is the sad part. And technically these 2 chores are actually 1 chore. It's take all of the garbage out in the house and renew all the garbage bags. Mm-hmm. So, like, legit, you just have to have a bunch of, like, Walmart bags to put in the little cans and a couple big bags to, and then you take all of the garbage out to the garbage can. That's technically 1 chore in my idea. Joe feels it's 2. Okay? Mm-hmm. And
oh, yeah.
It's damn simple.
Oh, yeah.
And she's so good. Like, she'll be like, I have to wait for everybody to get done with their chores, man, because they're going to throw away paper towels and garbage. And then I'm going to have to do my chore twice, and that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like I said, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
She's so like, she F's with me, and I know, the thing is I know she's messing with me, but at the same time, she's totally right.
Yes. Yes, she is totally right.
Yeah. So
if you want to get completely technical.
Yes. If you want to get completely
I mean, aren't we splitting hairs at this point?
Oh, well, and, oh my God, you sound like Kai. Like, this is the conversation we would have if I argued with her.
Yes.
Aren't we splitting hairs at this point, Mother? Like, really? Tomato. My favorite line she ever gave me, and this will still always be the classic, is, Mom, I don't understand why you're disagreeing with me. You gave me life. So essentially, this is your opinion.
How very true. Very true.
And I was like, no, it's not. And she's like, well, it's at least 50% your opinion, unless you want to have a very serious conversation with me right now. And it's like, get the hell out of my face, Kai. She's like, all right, I'm going to go chill in my bed.
Yeah. Chores are definitely a sore subject in my house, so I know that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're basically this is basically catch up, so I'll tell my little story and then we'll pass it on to you guys to get caught up. But the other day I came home and I lost it. I had to fix the lawnmower. It was supposed to be fixed. I had to refix it. It took me almost an hour. Well, we had just bought groceries, so I asked the kids to bring the groceries inside. It's 90-something degrees. My yard is nothing but mosquito breeding season because we were all flooded.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and I am outside, sweaty, hot, do not feel good. I've thrown up in the grass 3 times. I am not in a good position. I walk in, I have a problem where I get dizzy. I go to grab onto the counter and there's something in my hand's way and I look and it's the chocolate milk we bought. And then I look to my left and all of the groceries are on the kitchen table.
Oh, jeez.
And they've been there for 45 minutes to an hour. I lost it. I was like, in case you don't know, and this is not something I recommend you do as a divorced parent, and it's not a proud moment for me, but I lost it, and I was like, in case there's any question, your father does nothing for you, okay? In case you wonder who pays for counseling and who takes you to counseling and doctor's appointments and the dentist and school and going to get school supplies and finding out who your teacher is and registering you, your father does nothing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he does nothing for you and you give him more respect than you give me, I am blankety blank done.
Mm-hmm.
I said, so here's some real truth for you guys. And now at this moment, I'm breaking down as a mother because I know I shouldn't have said that, but it's so true.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm sorry that I said that, but do you have any idea what it feels like to be the one that is constantly there for you, constantly cheering for you? I am at every activity. I do everything I can for you, and you guys treat me like I am worthless. And on top of that, you guys act like you own me. You're at Dad's, you want something from the house, you want something and Dad won't get it for you. And I drop what I'm doing and I come help you. And I'm like, so that's not your fault because that's me making my life about you. But here's the thing is you guys haven't even given me the respect of just trying to help me out. So now my life doesn't revolve around any of you. So here's what you're going to do. You're all going to put these groceries away. I will monitor you while you cook dinner. I'm not doing it. I said, and on top of that, you will all clean up dinner. You will stay out of my way for the rest of the evening.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go and I shower. I monitor them cooking. I did not eat. I was sick. I did not eat. And I'm like, guys, I love you and I'm sorry, but matched effort. And I've been doing this with everyone in my life lately. And so the next day, I went and laid down. I wasn't feeling well, and it's just something I have to do. I got up, and in an hour, all 3 of my children had cleaned the bathroom, cleaned the kitchen. They brought all their dirty laundry. They collected all the dirty laundry in the house. They started a load of laundry. I mean, it was a total switch.
Good.
And I had spent that morning going and doing a few things for them for school. Getting them registered for some classes and some extracurricular activities. And so they were trying to show me that they were grateful and that we match effort. That's the coolest ketchup I have.
That is awesome. That is
So,
definitely awesome.
Cinnamon.
Yes.
Vintage. What's been going on? Why don't we catch you up?
Not a whole lot. I mean, literally since the last time we were all together and chatted and, I had talked about, working a new shift, and working nights is really kicking my butt, unfortunately. As much as I keep thinking the more I stay working nights, the more it'll get easier and my body will adjust, but gosh darn it, people should be sleeping when the sun is down and the moon is out, and my body has not figured out that doesn't work for me.
I was wondering about that for you because when I started working, I always worked in the evenings. Obviously, you have school during the day,
Right.
And then it just kind of continued because I had college or whatever. And then when I had 2 jobs, it was I worked one during the day and then I worked one at night.
Right.
So when I was pregnant with Kylie and Kylie was a baby, it wasn't a big shift for me to work the 11 to 7, but I was also 20-something years old. So
yeah.
I was wondering, instead of taking 30 days, is it going to take you like 3 years because for, 25 plus years you've done it the other way?
Exactly that. And I'm not a spring chicken.
Don't you like how I said 25 plus years?
20, they add on the plus.
40?
Like, you could double that almost. But, you're right. It's like our bodies have been so acclimated and, we know exactly. It's that complete, where our bodies are so in tune with the way the world works that this is the right way to be up during the day and sleeping at night. It's that rhythm, that circadian rhythm that our bodies just know. And when you go to being in the position where you have the luxury of working a job all day long, going home after work, having dinner, and going to bed, you just don't adapt well. And I think being older, it's been that much harder. I have to say it's been definitely more difficult. I mean, because I have...
Yeah, that's what I imagined. Like, and I'm not trying to be rude, but I wondered that. And I was going to ask it, and I'm like, I'll save it for the show.
Save it for the show, put me on the spot. But you're right, it is. And I keep trying to figure out how do I justify it to my brain, kind of playing that mind trick, like, I'll just do a mind fuck with my own brain here and kind of...
Get blackout curtains.
And you know what? I can literally get off work at 7 o'clock and crawl into bed by 7:15 and be out cold. And I can sleep till 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And you would think that, like, I've slept now for, 7 hours, which if I went to bed at night, like most people, the majority of population, if not more than majority, that major part of the population does, I would go to bed at 10 o'clock, sleep for 7 hours, and get up and go to work and be up all day. So
I just have to tell you, I don't think I've slept 7 hours.
But most people sleep an average 6 to 8 hours.
No, I know what you're saying, but it's just like, I'm like, yeah, no, that sounds like a dream, even if it was from fucking 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Like,
right? But it's funny because I'll be like trying to tell my brain, okay, I've slept like 7 hours all day long, and now it's time to be up for the remaining, 17 hours of the day, like I would if I had gotten up at 6 a.m. But my body's like, yeah, no, not happening. Not even close. 4:30 rolls around and I'm like struggling to stay awake. And, it's just like, I just am struggling to adapt to these hours. And, I don't know. It's just really been trying, and it's not like this is new for me. I've been doing this shift since the beginning of spring. And I just wish that someday, sooner rather than later, I can get back to working the daytime hours. Not to mention it really screws with my social possibilities, It's like, you want to go out this afternoon? Huh? Yeah.
And I know the rest of the world is thankful.
Yeah, thanks. But it's like, yeah, you want to go out and have dinner? Oh, I can't, because you're not going till 6:30, and I'm in bed by 6:30, trying to get at least that 3 or 4 hours of sleep before my shift starts, because otherwise I'm really dragging. So... And I think the fact that I used 5-hour energy the first couple of months, yeah, that doesn't work anymore.
Probably did not happen.
The best part is that I tell you, like, but I leave one at your house and you're like, oh my God, why would you even drink that stuff, blah, 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 blah. I've never even had it. And cinnamon can be ADD and hyper, like, obviously I can. Or freaking electric. Like, seriously, sorry, Shay, because we can get wild and out of control. She called me, and do you guys remember the Micro Machine guy?
No.
How fast he talks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That first time when you called me, after having half a shot of a 5-hour energy, you were talking faster than he was, and I'm going to be very honest with you. I put you on mute, and I started dying laughing.
Yeah.
And then when I got my composure, I came back, and I was like, okay.
And you're right, it was like instant speed, and it worked great the first day. And it's funny that you said that, because I talked to my mom that day too, the very first time I used the 5-hour energy. And my mom's like, you are exhausted. I go, nope, I took that 5-hour energy. I feel really great. And she goes, yeah, that's adrenaline because you are exhausted. And the more tired you're getting, you're not really realizing that that's wearing off. And the more hours go by, as the minutes are ticking, you're getting more and more tired, and your speech is just continually getting faster and faster, and it's not making any sense.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, there's things where you just don't make sense because it's you, but I mean, it's so funny.
Well, and unfortunately, the sad thing is to really help you adjust to your situation, to the night shift, is you have to, like, adapt that sort of schedule all the time. Like, even on your days off.
oh, yeah.
You would have to really adjust your schedule to that. But I know that you, after your Wednesdays, like, before you were, like, trying to stay up all day on Thursday and sleep.
Yeah, that worked for our first
Thursday
couple
night.
of months.
Yeah, and I mean, really, that's not really
Working
out so
that well. Because, like, Thursday comes around, and I'm like, yep, I'm going to stay up all day on Thursday. And literally, I get off at 7, and I'm like, nope, I just need to lay down for, like, 2 hours. 2 hours turns into, like, 4.5. And
My favorite is that so we're in 2 different locations, and I feel like so bad for you and Shay, but it was so funny. So Electric went over there to wake you up, and you're like, no.
yeah, pretty
And
much.
she's like, I don't know that, and I'm like, okay, bring me in there. Yeah, no, she's gotta go. But it was bad. Like you and I mean, Shay, I know you did. We almost feel bad. Like, all right, get up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much. So,
And I say almost because we're your best friends, so part of it involves secretly torturing you.
right. And you know, and I keep thinking that as long as, you know, and I try to do that where I stay up on Thursday all day so that I can get in bed on Thursday night and go to bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night and sleep all night and get up on Friday morning and feel human. Now, unfortunately, like tomorrow I work at 6 a.m. till late morning because I'm going to work some extra hours. But it's like, even though I try to get back on a normal sleeping schedule so that I can have a normal life on the 4 days that I'm off, or maybe I have to work a weekend shift and fulfill my responsibilities, that I have to get back on a regular schedule because those are regular daytime 7 to 3 hours. And so my body is completely and utterly in this chaotic state. And, you know, I'm trying to keep up with my kids because, you know, freeloaders are constantly on the go, constantly wanting something. So I try really hard to just minimize how much my night hours affect my life and my home. So, you know, and even now, goofy me, I did this once before in my life. You know, when life is so chaotic and the shit's just hitting the fan and nothing is as normal as it possibly can be, what does Cinnamon go out and do? I get a puppy. You know, just more to worry about.
When I saw that puppy yesterday, I looked at Shay and I'm like, it's cute and she's stupid. So what time are we doing the show tomorrow?
You know, and I've done this
before.
before.
You're talking to somebody that talked to a couple that moved in together with 6 children, and everywhere you look, there were packed boxes in their house. And they're like, we're going to get a Great Dane puppy. And I'm like, you guys are stupid.
Right?
You're
And said it to their face multiple times. And then they were like, look at how cute our puppy is. And I'm like, you guys really are fucking stupid.
You're so dumb.
You know, and it's not like this is the first time I've done this, too. You know, I did this when I was pregnant with my 3rd freeloader. We had to put down a dog because he was very ill. And I literally was like, it was the hardest thing I had ever done. I had never had to make this decision, and I really struggled with it. I had said to my husband at the time, I said, I'm not driving this dog. You have to come home and you have to do this. I'm like 8 months pregnant. There's no way I can do it. He's like, I will. I'll come home. I'll pick him up and I'll take him up there Not a problem. Well, sure enough, the day of, my husband calls me, and I'm on bed rest on top of it all, complete bed rest I'm supposed to be on, and he says, I'm not going to make it. You have to drive him there, and I'll meet you there. I went, are you kidding me? I am not doing this. And he's like, no, you have to. And I go, are you getting me new license plates that say last ride? Because that's about what this is, and I feel like I'm driving a hearse. And he goes, no, you're going to drive him up there. Well, sure enough, I was so affected by the loss of him that I had this baby, and she was born with a lot of issues, and cried 24/7 from literally the moment we got home from the hospital. Nobody
So
could
you
tell.
bought a puppy?
I did. I did. I went out, and here was me. What was I thinking? I have a 2-month-old baby that literally cries all night long and all day long, and nobody can touch her. And I went out and bought a puppy because of the fact that there was this loss of missing, having a dog at home.
So this is exactly what happened again.
Exactly what happened again. You know, and and I'm not going to lie, I already have a dog that I've had for almost 12 years, but it's not enough. So I will torture myself over and
You know
over.
what I'm hearing? It's not enough chaos. I need a tish more.
Just a tad, just a small tad. But, you know, I don't know what it is, but, you know, I guess I'm just glutton for punishment. Oh, wait, we probably could have figured that out after I had 2 freeloaders and then just added 2 more. Mm-hmm. Right? Just
Right,
totally
and then
glutton for punishment.
And then a puppy.
And I bring in a puppy. and my kids
The
wonder...
life itself, and you should know that.
Right, and my kids wonder why I'm, like, crazy. Mm-hmm. You know.
Nobody wonders why you're crazy. I think you should know that. You always say, everybody wonders why I'm crazy. No one wonders.
No one wonders. Everybody's
Like,
already
if this
figured
is a
out.
competition and you're trying to prove it through life decisions, we're telling you, we already understand.
We already know.
We already know. I'm the one that needs to figure it out, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. So, so that's life for vintage these days. How about you, Miss Electric?
Well, my life is boring. I pretty much do the same thing all the time. No, I've just been spending a lot of time with Frank this summer. He's been keeping him home more, just from daycare and stuff, so that we can spend some more time together. And so we've been having a good time. It's been good. And I have to say that I feel bad for his dad, because he doesn't get as much time with him as I do. And even when, like, because we do that week on, week off thing, and, you know, he doesn't get as much time with him as I do, and it's really kind of tough to, like, I don't know, I just feel like I'm robbing him somehow, but at the same time, I know that he is, you know, he's got a job, and he's got to work, and he's busy, so... But it's been really nice to spend some extra time with him and do that. We spend a lot of time with Vintage and the OBB's kids. So trying to do things and keep them occupied. But
when I can get my ass out of bed.
but you know, but that's what we've been doing. It's been pretty nice. So
yeah, it has been, and I do. You know, I wish that I had the ability, and I think that's the one thing I miss with working nights is that ability to be able to make the plans and stick to them, because there are too many times where I probably put more on my plate, or I say I can do something and I'm not taking into account how I'm really probably going to feel. Mm-hmm. So,
well, but let's get into, do we still want to do our segments today? Because we've gotten kind of...
Caught up in life.
Long-winded in our...
Yeah, you know what? Why don't we do this? We're just going to announce them really quickly so that way they're done, but we're not even going to discuss them. We'll just go real, like, pop shot so that way we can get into the show. I have BB of the week, and I would like to... and it's not that... I keep picking BB of the week because I'm on the page the most, and so I don't want anybody to think that, you know, this is what I want to do, so I just keep stealing this segment, different things like that. So the BB of the week, and oh my god, her name just literally dropped out of my head. Oh, okay, here we go. And I'll let her know. It is a girl that we're just going to say her first name, Tara. And the reason why I'm giving her a BB shout out is she wrote something and posted in BB about being a mom, and I'll ask her if I can share it to my personal page, but it'll definitely be in the show page, the closed page, about being a mom, and no matter what you do, if I drink, I'm still a good mom. If you as long as it's not to excess. If you choose not to drink, you're still a good mom. If you yell and I don't, we're still both good mothers, And just the contrast, and this is a woman who I know from my own personal life. She works 3 jobs. She has 4 kids, an ex-husband that paying her is like, I think he's sending the checks through the Bermuda Triangle, and they're just not making it.
Mm-hmm. They're getting eaten up.
Yeah, and she has someone in her family that's permanently disabled that lives with her, and family that moves in and out. You need anything, and she helps. You know what I mean? And she's there for every single football game she can be in. Her kids are in cheerleading. And she's the epitome of, like, to me, Wonder Woman. And she does it all, and she still is appreciative of what she has and tries to be a loving, generous soul to everyone around her. So that's the BB shout out for the week. I know that Shay, you had tip of the week, right?
I did. And it's not really so much of a tip, but like you were saying before, like, oh man, everybody on the page seems, and I'm sure everyone has kind of had that moment where they're sitting there thinking, I am the worst parent ever. I am failing so hard at this right now. I just cannot do this right. But there's a vlogger who, I'm sure her videos have been posted on our page before. Her name is Christina Kuzmik, and she's a vlogger. And if you, I will post her site on our page, on our closed page, and also on my personal one. But she has some really strong messages. Like, one of the messages that she has is, she's like, right now, all of my kids hate me.
Oh, wow.
Well, but her thing is, well, you know what? That's going to happen. If you're doing your job right, they will hate you. They will not be your best friend. You're not supposed to be their best friend all the time. You need to be laying down the law. You need to be doing this. She has some very real messages, and I really feel that I connect with her because she did do a vlog on how she's failing as a parent, and those days when you're like locked in your room crying, and or you're sneaking off to cry in the shower. You're gonna have those days, and I think the way she puts things and the way she words things, it really hits home with me. And so I'm hoping that it will hit home with you, lovely ladies and gentlemen also. So that is my tip.
Yeah, that brings me to a post I saw too where you said that where you're locking yourself away in the shower. No, there was I saw a post where it was a picture of 2 kids coming down the stairs to the basement, and they're yelling, "Mom, Mom, Mom!" And they're going, Mom said she was going to be doing laundry, and if you look inside the dryer, Mom's in the dryer with a glass of wine, drinking, and it's like...
Yes, I posted underneath that, I'm like, if only I fit, #big booty struggle.
Yeah, I thought that was amazing. So, and I know what post you're talking about, too, because I had commented on that post about, about being a mom. And, there aren't any truer words. Just because you do one thing and someone else, parents in a different way, doesn't mean you're any less of a mom at all. Look at, for example, myself. Take my freeloaders. I'm not the perfect mom. I do make mistakes. I swear like a sailor. And, I smoke. I don't drink, and I have my own personal demons. But I am not a bad mom. You know, I look at it this way. As long as my children grow up to be productive human beings in society, I've done my job. And they're good kids. They have a heart. They have compassion, empathy. And that's what's the most important thing. I mean, I can't ask for anything more. My oldest is very successful in her career. And I'm not doing anything different with the ones that are still home that I did with her. Even though they're different kids, I have to adapt a little bit to make it work. But I'm really not changing the values of me as a parent.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to her for posting that for us. And
yeah, and I believe she's the one who posted the meme too.
Maybe. So
I believe she is, but that, yeah, she's super cool. But that Christina Kuziak, her site's called Little Things. She has a video in there that at a really dark time in my life just totally helped. And if you Google it, you can find it on YouTube, and I'll post it in the page. It's called What I Learned About Thinking I Was a Horrible Mom.
Mm-hmm.
And she just says, you know, all these things that made her a bad mom, and her therapist turned around and said, you know, like crying in the bathroom while her kids are watching TV. So now she's letting an electronic babysit her children, and she's crying in the bathroom, not even spending time with them. And the therapist just turns that one around, and he goes, you said that's a horrible mother. What it shows me is that you love your children enough that you gave them their favorite show, which is educational and funny, and they enjoy, while they ate a dinner as a picnic in the living room. So you set them all up and gave them this fun experience so that you could take the few minutes
to break down.
You know, to break down so that you can come back and be a good mom.
Mm-hmm.
right.
And I'm almost in tears now. I will tell you, the last few weeks, I've clung to that, because there are nights where I can't do anymore. The other night, my significant other, you know, saw us from almost live from the basement, came over, and Madison wanted to play a game, and we played one round, and they all had so much fun. And then she wanted to watch a movie with Josh and I, and this, that, and the other. And I told her, I'm like, honey, I just can't. Baby, I'm sorry. It's 11 o'clock at night. Mommy has nothing left to give today.
Mm-hmm.
And she was bummed out. And so I laid down, and I started feeling guilty, and I needed to get up and get some meds that I had forgotten. So I went upstairs to her room, and she goes, what are you doing up here? And I spent like 5 minutes maybe talking with her. I sang her a song, and I kissed her goodnight. And the next morning, yesterday morning, she said to me, she goes, Mama, that was just so great. I know you didn't feel good. Thank you for doing that for me. And it's like, to me, I felt like such a crappy mom because it was only 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And to her, it was the greatest 5 minutes of the day before.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
I think sometimes we don't give our children credit for realizing it sometimes, so.
absolutely, because when my kids cleaned, like, the entire house, and let me tell you, they did a shit job, okay? I'm not even going to lie. They are definitely not. Madison always does good. Madison is just like me, just like my mother. My other kids clean like my sister, okay? It was not white glove clean, and I'm redoing it today. But
It was
they thought
effort.
about me, and they loved me.
Right. It's the effort. Effort is exactly what is the most important part of it. So,
well, why
yes.
don't we move on to Hero then?
So Hero, I'm going to talk about Hero today.
Mm-hmm.
And someone that I picked is really important to me, and that person is my sister. And the reason I picked her is she's a lot younger than I am. There's 13 years between us. And I look at her with such with this astonishment that I can't even describe it. I have watched my sister go through such turmoil in her life, and the reason I bring her up today is because my sister is home for the first time in it. I haven't seen her in over a year now, and because my sister lives in the UK, in London, and I am so amazed at what she has accomplished in her life over the last, maybe 10 or 15 years with everything that she's gone through. and how much she hasn't allowed it to stop her from achieving her dreams. I look at her as a mom now, and I look at her as a wife, and I just see this woman that is so amazing at the choices that she's made, and and the things that she's wanted, and she's made them happen. And I really hope that as my children and her being their godmother and a huge part of their lives, that what I don't, as a parent, am not able to get across, because there's always that kind of that curtain where your kids don't want to see through it, or you don't want to see through it because you have that parent-child conflict sometimes, that I hope that what my sister, that this is displayed through her as much, because I know how much she is been through, and that I just think that she is an amazing woman, and I am just completely and utterly so proud of her. So, and I'm so excited to see her on Saturday. It'll be the first time in over a year. So I'm excited.
Hooray.
Yay. So, I mean, just an amazing thing. So she is my hero. That's for sure.
That's so awesome. I would love to meet her while she's in town. I don't know if that's even possible, but...
Oh, my goodness. I'll be there Saturday, and of course, I'm not far from you.
Really? What time Saturday? Because if you can do the daytime...
Yes, I will be down at my parents' about maybe at noonish.
Okay, all right, let's work on that after the show.
You bet.
All right, so how about we talk about what this show's about?
Absolutely. And this is a tough one for me. I'm not going to lie.
You know what? Can I introduce the show?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we didn't usually work this out pre-show between me not feeling well, Shay not feeling well, and Sin being comatose.
Right?
We're kind of flying
by the seat of our pants.
Kind of planned. It's kind of planned, kind of not. It's as ADD as Sin and I are.
Oh my God.
So,
Squirrel?
Electra calls me the other day, and she says, "Hey, Vintage, found this like movie on Netflix, and it's called To the Bone." And I'm like, okay, and she tells me that it's about eating disorders. And I'm like, oh, been there, done that. And so, we start having this conversation about eating disorders and different things like that. And I watched the movie last night. I finished it this morning. I watched part of it last night, part of it, over the last couple of days. I never watch a movie at one time.
I don't think you still haven't finished it.
I will tell you, two parts of me were affected. Mm-hmm. So one, the part as a mom who sees this struggle, and then thinking about how my mom struggled with me. But then the sick part of me, and I do call it sick because I do believe it's an illness, was like, oh my God, I totally forgot that trick. Oh my God, I totally forgot that trick.
Oh my gosh, I sat here at the table with my kids the other day and we talked about the movie, and I said, she used my favorite trick. And that, it really hit home for me.
Yeah. The spitting, is it the spitting one?
Oh, yeah. I can't tell you how many times I would put food in my mouth, chew it, and kind of like, if I was with family, like with my mom, because I hid my illness from my mom for so long, I have to cough, and you would cough, and you'd pretend to look like you swallowed, but you would cough all your food into your napkin. And how many times I was sick with this horrible coughing, you would have thought I had whooping cough for years at that rate, because everything was coming up, if I had the ability to spit it, I would, most definitely.
Mm-hmm. Well, and for me, like, I've never struggled with anorexia or bulimia or anything like that, but for me to watch this movie, I really wasn't interested in it because, I can totally relate. I was interested in it because you struggled with it.
Every day.
And I wanted to watch this movie just to maybe get a feeling of what your struggle is. And because it wasn't really looking for like the root of the problem or, you know, anything like that. The movie, I really felt like it just looked at her struggle. They never tried to get to like the root of her problems and why is she doing this. And
I'm sorry, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to interject right there only because I think one of the things that it did show, but definitely didn't talk enough about, and I would love to see a follow-up or some kind of remake, whatever, to this movie is, like you said, why? But if you looked at all of the different people, the why for them was totally different.
Mm-hmm.
When people have depression, and so they are sad, and they have typical behavior,
Mm-hmm.
one of the hardest things about eating disorders is if you're sad all the time, you have depression. If you have really high peaks and really low peaks, you're bipolar. There are guidelines to help them determine what the problem is and how to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
With eating disorders, yes, it is always emotional and mental,
Mm-hmm.
but it can be because things are really good, things are really bad. It can be because you were molested. It can be because you were always popular. It's so all over that they have eating disorders is the number one mental illness they cannot treat properly.
Yes. Well, I mean, because I feel like there's, you know, so many different reasons, like, that trigger it.
Yeah.
And there's so many things that will, and you know, for me, I'm just like, well, just eat. Like, just eat and you'll be fine. And I know that that's like the narrow.
That's the simplicity of it.
Yeah,
but it's
not that simple. It's not that simple. And you know, like I said, I really watched it because so I could understand Cinnamon more. And when she does things that make me go, you need to eat. You need to do this. And I know that she hates me when I say it and when I do those things, but I also know what she's doing to herself is probably way worse than anything that I could really say to her. So,
yeah.
You know.
Well, and so going into the whole eating disorder and things like that, and, you know, Vintage, you share what you want, because obviously, you know, it's not our story to tell for you, but there are so many different types of problems, and I think when people think eating disorders, they think anorexia, they think, you know, bulimia nervosa, they think starving themselves, you know, starvation techniques and different things like that. They don't think of the flip side of it, of the overeating, then you're just obese.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I don't think people get the true struggle of both of these have horrible health risks.
Yes.
Yes, starving yourself, you will die faster than overeating. Okay? However, they are both slowly, if not quickly, killing you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that with all of the diets and pills and shakes and airbrushing and tummy tucks and, I mean, all of these different things, we have someone on the page, and you know, I would never mention a name, but this person had plastic surgery and had a tummy tuck done, and then ended up, was pissed because she had to go to the gym and had to eat right anyway. Mm-hmm. And then did that and dropped, you know, and I never thought she was big to begin with. I'm going to say maybe she was an 8, 9, 10, I don't know. Dropped down to like a 0, and then was just like, I want to gain weight. I need to gain some weight to get some meat on my bones, to buy a pair of shorts that don't fall off. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so we literally on the page got to see a transformation of one to the other. I was at one point in time, my disease went from one extreme to the other. I needed to eat so that Joe would live when I was pregnant, and I gained 150 pounds with Joe and never lost and then added to it. So I was 367 pounds when I left my husband. I was almost 157 this time last year, and now I'm up to 200 again. Between health struggles, not being able to work out, not eating good because I feel like crap, and then going, and I will fully admit, at one point in time, I even started with the diet pills again, which are dangerous for me. And for 2 days straight, I had eaten nothing but diet pills and my medicines, and I ended up having a major episode and almost going to the hospital with my health. And I know that Electric was part of that. She was so pissed, and so was my boyfriend. But it's still that mentality. And watching that movie, I think for me, was good not to do it all at one time. But I'm surprised. Part of me wanted to get out a notebook and write things down or rewatch the beginning so I could remember things. And I was like, okay, so I won't be watching that movie anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, I think that it really comes down to having a healthy relationship with food.
Which I totally don't.
Oh, I know that I have struggles, and I know that I need to eat better because of, my health issues and things like that. But I feel like a lot of times it's that struggle of getting to the right mentality, the right mental place. And unfortunately, I feel like a lot of times with, so there was, and I know this is going to sound silly, but there was an episode of American Dad where the father had kind of put on a little bit of weight, and he put himself on a diet. Well, when he looked in the mirror, he still saw this fat person, this person with this extra weight.
Yep.
When really, in reality, he was skin and bones. And unfortunately, I feel like that is something that does occur for people who are, who do have an eating disorder, who go towards the anorexic side.
I will tell you this. I lost 167 pounds, and I lost it the hard way. I mean, I did clean eating, I worked out, I still look in the mirror and see the 367-pound girl, even to this day. And it doesn't matter what mirror, and it's become harder and harder and harder lately, and it's affecting different things in my life that I know of, because I'm not where I was last year, or I'm not where I wanted to be, and I am my own worst critic, especially when it comes to eating. Mm-hmm. And, there's a movie called Eat, Pray, Love, and she says, I am so tired of counting every calorie and knowing how much self-loathing to take in the shower. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh my God, I live that every day,
Mm-hmm.
The hard part, and I think, Cinnamon, you please jump in whenever you want. The hard part for me now is I have to renegotiate my relationship, not only with food, but with what I can do and what I can't do. And that's really been hard for me. So instead of planning on how I'm going to do it healthfully, I literally have been spending the last 2 days okay, if I eat this and then I do these 3 things, that will burn it off.
Oh, absolutely. I spend, that time always. And I think from the point when my eating disorder became very prevalent, there was always that trade-off. I had to find the trade-off. How do I negotiate my actions to justify them? If I eat this, I can do this, and it'll cancel out what I've eaten.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was very, very much a part of my daily routine. And honestly, once I realized the other ways of dealing with how do I put it? But as it progressed and I became better at being anorexic or bulimic, it got where I had to worry less and less about negotiating, because we don't want to. We don't want to justify. So at that point, if there was a way to cancel out that action, I was looking for it. Mm-hmm. So, and I always had to justify, to myself. And I think for me, I needed to, it was easier for me to just do something and not have to look at the reasons why. I mean, I know I can look back at all of the reasons why it led me to the point of becoming a person who dealt with a horrible eating disorder. And I shouldn't even use the word dealt, because
you still do.
I do deal with this every day. I mean, it is almost like I wonder, where is this body dysmorphic come from that I struggle with? That, because that is a anorexia and bulimia is a complication of body dysmorphic, disorders. But I can look back all this time in my life, and at first I had my reasons why what led me into being so concerned of my weight, where I thought it started was with my first marriage. But the more I really dove into it and through therapy over all these years, I realized that it went back so much further than I thought it did.
So if you were coming up with all these tricks and all these things to get away with it, I guess, what was the tipping point for you? When did you sit there and think, oh my God, this is not okay anymore. This needs to stop. I need to change this. When was that tipping point? When
I realized I needed to change the fact that I was a bulimic and I needed to stop.
Was there anything that happened that you were like,
no.
Oh my gosh, I need to stop this?
No, I never got to that point. I have never come to the realization of saying I should not be doing this. I struggle every day with thinking I want to still purge my food, but I can't. But it wasn't me that brought me to that point. I got caught.
By who?
My mom and my ex-husband. Mm-hmm. I got caught. I actually got caught by my oldest daughter in the bathroom, who went and told my ex-husband, who at that point said, oh, well, we thought there was something going on. And knowing my mother, I love my mom to death. And our relationship has been tumultuous from day one, probably. And it doesn't change how much I love her. I truly do, more than anything. She is my mom. And that's the one thing that people sometimes struggle with when you have a parent that your childhood isn't the greatest. People are like, how come you're not so mad? How come you're not mad at her still? Well, because she's my mom. Mm-hmm. I only have one mom. And no matter what mistakes my mother made, she's still my mom. Mm-hmm. And I will always put her on that pedestal. But I have to say that she probably, and I hate to place blame because I have to accept accountability for my actions. But I think that there were so many things that occurred during my childhood that led me down that path. Mm-hmm. And I remember back to the very beginning of when I can remember the incidences that would contributed to this. Mm-hmm. I remember being a little girl, and now I grew up with, my mom is a competitive Olympic figure skating coach. Mm-hmm. My mother has grown up a figure skater and a ballerina. My mother is, 5'5" and, 112 pounds soaking wet with thin, long legs. And here is me. I'm 4'11", and I was the pretty plus epitome of a girl. And I remember being, being that my mom taught figure skating, it was expected that I figure skated. And I spent my whole life growing up in an ice rink. And I remember my mother buying me a t-shirt and putting a sign on paper. On the front of it, it had a screenshot, like an iron-on transfer that said "Child for Rent," and it had a little picture of a kid with a dog in a suitcase. And on the back, she took a piece of paper and she pinned it to the back of my shirt. And on that piece of paper, she wrote, "Please do not feed me." And because I was this rink rat kid that spent every waking hour there. My mom starts work and is in the car before 5 a.m. every day. And here I was, 4 or 5 years old, and I was getting up and going to work with my mother. And this was my whole life. And I think the fact that my mother had really put her whole life into her career, that her students were like her children. And for me, it almost felt like they were her priority. And I think sometimes being that she was there for so long and I was there and the attention was on all of her students and not me, and I was trying to find things to entertain myself, that the parents of these students felt bad. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you how many times a mother of a student would say, "Well, let's go get you some popcorn," or "Let's go get you a pretzel." Mm-hmm. And they were constantly feeding me. And the older kids that worked at the rink, who worked in the concession stand, I would go in and sit in the concession stand and they would help me and spend time with me and pay that attention, to where it was like I was constantly being fed. You feed for love. And that's where I remember my first memory of what could have drove me down this path. And the comments as I got older, we could be buying your clothes at Marshall Field's, but we're here at Sears because they're the only place that has a Pretty Plus department. These were the things that really stick in my head. Incidences like, in 8th grade, I after Christmas, had taken a box. And not a big box. It was a small box. It might have been like a 6 by 6 inch box by 6 inches deep, square box, large enough to fit like an ornament, a round glass ornament that I had picked up at Marshall Field's on a trip with my mom. And when the box was empty and all the tissue paper was out, it was a decent box, and I had filled it with Jolly Rancher candy. And on the top of the box, I took a marker and I had wrote, I remember this very vividly, I was in 8th grade. I wrote on the box for Cinnamon, Trisha, Becky, and only. And I, put my friends' names on it, and I was going to take the box to school after Christmas vacation. Well, my mother found the box, and the shit hit the fan. I mean, hit the fan. I got the beating of a lifetime over this box of candy and how I didn't need this candy because I was already fat. So these are the things that stick to me now as I become older and wiser, and I have delved into the root of my disease. Because in the beginning, I thought the reason I did this, when it manifested itself, was in my first marriage to somebody who was very abusive and very controlling. And I started because it was the one thing I could control. Yeah. I couldn't control the clothes I wore. I couldn't control who I hung out with. I couldn't control getting my hair cut. He controlled everything, down to every penny that we had. And I literally had no control. So one thing that he couldn't take away from me was what I ate and what I didn't eat. And what I did do with the food I did put in my body. And he wanted me to be home. I mean, I married an Italian man who wanted me to be home all the time. And he wanted me to be overweight and pregnant and producing babies. And I was nowhere near wanting to be that. And I just started with my eating disorder at that point of being able to control what went into my body and what I could purge out. And what I could do when he wasn't there to watch me. And that's when I started with, I could take pills, I could take laxatives that would help with maintaining and lowering my weight and keeping it down. And I also suffer from Crohn's, so I could mask the effects of the laxatives with my Crohn's disease. And then it was, I can exercise at home. Even though I'm locked here in the house, I can exercise and he won't know what I'm doing. And then when I started being able to be out and about more and going to school and being active where he wasn't in my face all the time, I could then at that point not eat at all. And when I had to eat, I realized that I learned I could purge it. And that's where I originally thought that my disease had started, but it took years of really reflecting and looking further back and seeing how much in my young childhood that it did affect this as well.
And I feel like, like you said, now you still struggle with it. And I feel like eating disorders are very much like being an alcoholic or being a gambler. Those sorts of things, because it's not really, sometimes it's not even, you're not even making the conscious decision to do it.
No.
It's reflex, and it's something that you go to, and it's something that you're never really cured of.
No, I will always be someone who has bulimia. I am lucky to say that, I have overcome a lot of the bad habits of trying to not follow with those. And that takes a lot of therapy. I mean, thank goodness for my therapist. It takes a lot of accountability. It's thank you to my physicians that had been there with me through all of this. And the worst part, it's so sad because I went to nursing school and I worked as a nurse in labor and delivery and did prenatal in an office. And you would have thought that these physicians that I'm around all day long are wondering, why am I getting on the scale 6 or 7 times a day while I'm at work for 8 hours? But once it really came out and people finally, I think part of it was waiting for me to be aware of what I was doing and to take that accountability and ask for help. I think a lot of people sometimes around me just wanted to back away and not deal with me. Because it's easier that way sometimes. But I think finally getting caught and knowing that we were suspicious and now we need to help you, and they were proactive in helping me recover was huge for me. I will not lie, at my lowest weight I was, I think, 77 pounds. Which for some people, they feel like, I'm 4'11", 77 pounds isn't all that bad.
No, that's horrible.
I don't feel like it is, and that's part of the disease. Right now, even in the fact that I'm healthy at this point, I still feel like I don't think that if I weighed 100 pounds right now, it would be a bad thing. It would be okay if I lost the 16 extra pounds I have. Or more. But the problem comes down to, even if I get down to that 100-pound mark, I won't stop.
It's never going to be good enough.
It isn't going to be good enough because no matter how much I look in the mirror, I'm still going to see this girl who weighed 197 pounds that was being abused and beaten and spoken to and treated the way I was. Because that little girl and that married woman that endured all of that is still looking back at me. They're always going to be there. We talk about our demons, and those are my demons. Those people, those points of me are what haunt me. Yeah. So I guess, I do deal every day with it. There are days that go by where Electric or Shay will ask me, did you eat today? Nope. Why? Well, I don't know. I just haven't. And I probably do know.
You do know.
I do know. And it's just the fact that I don't want to say because I don't feel like eating because I feel like I am fat today.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, though, on my end, is, I do ask you if you've eaten today. And today, you had a bowl of cereal or whatever. And I don't care. I understand the whole, my day has just gotten really busy. I just forgot. Because I do that a lot. But at the same time, I know for you that it is a struggle. It is something that you are struggling with. Like the one time, I literally almost beat the crap out of her. When I came here once, and she had a jar of applesauce. Mm-hmm. And this applesauce literally had check marks in it about how much that she could eat a day.
Yep.
And I was like, seriously? This is what you've been eating?
Yep.
And it was just something I'm glad that you get the help that you need and all of that. So
yeah, it is that. It's justifying how much I eat or how much I don't eat. Making excuses is really a big one for sure.
So, but I'm hearing, hi, there are children's here and there are people coming home and we were just informed that Miss OBV.
The OBV has a doctor's appointment in 20 minutes. I'm sitting here and I'm like, I gotta tell them quick.
But
we got a little bit of a late taping, and I had some really bad blood work a couple days ago. Mm-hmm. So I just got an email, and when they email, I have to go in. I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh well, I gotta be there in 20 minutes. Good thing it's 5 minutes away.
Well, hopefully, we can pick this up again next time. If you have any questions, please feel free to message us on the page or personally on Facebook. We are more than willing to talk about it because there's so much more to talk about here. Treatment plans and all of this kind of stuff. So
what the end result of what could happen. I mean, and I'm not embarrassed to talk about those things either. And I feel it's important because I want people to be so fully aware of how this really can affect you as far as long term, physically.
Yes.
Most definitely. So
really quickly before we go, I did want to mention something, especially because a lot of us have younger daughters or have teenage daughters that are going to be, these kind of things will affect your kids. I have a friend that her daughter learned how to be anorexic through a website that is literally called howtobeanorexic.com. Mm-hmm. And check your kids' computers, check your kids' stuff, because not only does it give how-tos, but there's a community so that you can get support. And it makes me sick that we can actually allow this to keep going. Again, there's freedom of speech, so it's protected. But just a real quick thing from me, just check your kids' stuff, because I know that, I've gone in my kids' search engines, and if you need tips and tricks, you just let me know. But I've gone in their deleted searches and found stuff and been like, hey,
absolutely,
why are you looking at this, or why are you interested in this?
Well, also too, I think that this is a good movie to sit down with your kids.
I do too,
and watch it with your kids and really discuss it and have that open conversation about this. A very honest and a very real conversation with your children.
Yeah.
And it's something that I know it's one of those hot button topics, but
taboo-ish.
Yeah, but I really feel like it's something that you can sit down You can watch it with them. You can, tell them how it affected you. Ask them how it affected them, and just let them know that you're there for them. And I just feel like that's a good way to open that line of communication.
I think honesty is that it's a big policy. And I will say that in my defense, I've been very honest with my children, being the mom of 3 girls. And I've been very honest with them. They see every day, the end result of what I've suffered from because of my decisions and my choices. And I think that being as honest with them, brutally honest, that they've realized how bad of a choice it was and to not follow that path. So definitely keep that honest line of communication, that open communication with them. And if you don't have an answer for them, find someone who might. Seek out the help so that you can assist your kids. And, just throwing it out there, I'm always available. Private message me. If you have any questions, if you have concerns, if you feel you have someone in your life that may be experiencing an eating disorder and you're not sure, I'm always available.
Absolutely. All right, guys, I love your faces. I love all of you, but I got to jet. Thank you so much, Vintage, for just being honest and open and loving and kind as always. Electric, thank you for the recommendation of the show. I definitely have a little self-reflecting to do on this topic, but thank you guys so much. And BBs, we will reconvene as soon as I'm either done or next Thursday. So we love you.
Love you guys.
We love you.
Be
Later.
out.